Did you know that Sonic actually had a hoverboard-based racing game series? A lot of hardcore Sonic fans do know about this, but if you don't, let me explain it. Sega wanted to try something different as a racing style game, and on the GameCube we got Sonic Riders. Sonic Riders is known as one of the best spin-offs in the whole franchise, and for a good reason. Sonic Riders can actually be a very difficult game, making with for some pretty advanced AI in the game, as well as hard tricks that you need to time perfectly. It's a very different style racing game, where instead of being in carts, you're on hoverboards. You move automatically, and you have a gas meter that, if it gets fully depleted, then you basically lose all of your speed and have to find a gas thing. Sonic Riders also has a pretty short story. The story is basically that Dr. Eggman sets up a World Grand Prix for Sonic and his friends to race in, and instead of it, actually following through, he just wants to get the Chaos Emeralds, and that's kind of the general idea of the story mode. It's a very well thought out game that still holds up well today, and there's actually competitive online modes now that you can find on Dolphin Emulator and stuff. So yeah, I would recommend picking up Sonic Riders if you haven't already, especially if you are into any kind of Sonic games. It is one that you will not regret picking up. Now, there are actually two more games in the series, starting with Sonic Riders Zero Gravity. It is actually a much easier game, but I would recommend definitely playing this with a GameCube controller, since the Wii controllers are very flunky at times. So if you can play this with a GameCube controller, definitely go for that. It has a very similar story with just a couple new features. It is of course still a fine game, but I would still recommend picking up the GameCube if you're going to pick one or the other. And the third game, which I do not have, probably for the best, is Sonic Free Riders, which is known to be one of the worst Sonic games in human history. What makes it so bad is that you are limited to only using the Xbox Kinect sensor, because half the time the controls don't even work, or actually more than half the time the controls don't even work according to basically everyone who's played the game, which is probably why it's going for less than $10 right now on most websites. It's still a mystery if we're ever going to get a fourth Sonic Riders game, but hey, I would be open to it, as long as it's not anything like Sonic Free Riders.